Irene Kantakouzene, known simply as Despotess Jerina, was the wife of Serbian Despot Đurađ Serbian. In Serbian folk legends, she is the founder of many fortresses in Serbia. Although the Smederevo fortress was the work of Đurađ Serbian, Irene apparently had a role in its construction. One of its towers is known as Jerina's Tower, and she is blamed for causing hardship on the inhabitants of the countryside by levying taxes and recruiting forced labor for building the fortress. The fortress traded hands between the Serbians and the Ottomans over the following years until it fell on the 20th of June 1459, more than 2 years after Branković and then Irene had died. Nichols describes the circumstances of Irene's death as melancholy. According to the account of historian Kritobolis, upon the death of Đurađ Branković, his youngest son Lazar became despot under her regency. However, Lazar swiftly deprived her of all authority and treated her so badly that she tried to escape to the court of Sultan Mehmed II with her stepdaughter Mara and her blind son Gregory. Lazar pursued them and captured Irene, although Mara and Gregory successfully escaped. Irene soon became ill and died on the night of 2–3 May at Rudnik, where she was buried. Theodore Spanduns, who a 16th-century historian, records the accusation that Lazar poisoned her family. Irene was one of the sisters of George Paleologos Kantakouzene, according to Spanduns and other sources. The genealogy Donald Nicol has constructed gives George and Irene at least 4 siblings: Andronikos Paleologos Kantakouzene, Thomas Kantakouzene, Helena Kantakouzene, and one more sister who married a king of Georgia, although he speculates the father was Demetrios Kantakouzene. Nichols is certain that the grandfather was Matthew Kantakouzene and the great-grandfather the Emperor John VI Kantakouzene. Irene married Đurađ Branković on the 26th of December 1414. Irene having come to Serbia from Thessalonica, he would not become despot of Serbia until 1427, by which time they had been married 13 years. No contemporary source states which of Brankovic's 5 children were also Irene's, although the youngest, Catherine, bore the name of Kantakouzene, and Mara was clearly the daughter of one of Brankovic's earlier wives. Based on portraits of Irene with Đurađ Branković and his 5 children from a crucible preserved at the monastery of Sfigmino on Mount Athos, dated the 11th of September 1429, Nicol interprets how the individuals were grouped, that Stefan and Lazar were her children too. He also adds that Theodore Spanduns records at the time of the mutilation by the Sultan Murad II in 1441, Gregory and Stephen were aged 16 and 15 respectively, which, if correct, signifies that Gregory too must have been a child of Irene. Legends, being a Greek and with her brothers very influential to the new despot, people began to dislike her, attributing to her many vicious and evil characteristics, including that building of Smederevo was her caprice. In folk poetry she has been dubbed Prokleta Jerina, but nothing of this can be confirmed from historical sources. The Maglik fortress, nearby Kraljevo in Serbia, is also known as the Fortress of Damned Jerina. It was built in the 13th century. Damned Jerina, who used to throw her lovers into the deep well inside the walls, built it. The legend reads, the Uzis fortress has the legend similar to this. In local tradition she is described as a cruel queen who threw children from highest tower to dark river Thetnia. The meaning of river's name can be translated as, of the children. Vuk Stefanović Karadzic wrote several Serbian folk songs where she is mentioned. Đurađ Jerina, Dva Despotovića, Zenadba Thirda Smederevka, Kardžev Jankovo Voda. Zudrajo Thirda Despota Buzdahanam, Oblak Radosave, and Starina Novakiki and Ezad Bogosav. The anthroponym Irina became Jerina, and it can be seen from three aspects. For the aspect of phonetic adaptation of the anthroponym, the Greek name Irina became the Serbian name Jerina, from the aspect of derivation of the appellative Jerina from the anthroponym Jerina, and from the aspect of the change in the meaning of the name Irina into the name which bears a negative connotation in Serbia, and the name that becomes a protective name, that is, the newborn female children in the families which have no male children, are named Jerina in order to stop the birth of further female children. Serbian writer Vidin Nikolic wrote a novel Prokleta Jerina about her life. Some earlier versions of this novel had a title, The Shadow of the Despotess. Annotations.